Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com. Welcome to Storytime. The Queen Bee. Two king's sons once went out in search of adventure and fell into a wild, disorderly way of living, so that they never came home again. The youngest, who was called Simpleton, set out to seek his brothers. When at length he found them, they mocked him for thinking that he, with his simplicity, could get them through the world, when they too could not make their way, and yet were so much clever. They all three traveled away together and came to an anthill. The two elder wanted to destroy it, to see the little ants creeping about in terror, carrying their eggs away. But Simpleton said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to disturb them." Then they went farther and came to a lake on which a great number of ducks were swimming. The two brothers wanted to catch a couple and roast them, but Simpleton would not permit it and said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not suffer you to kill them." At length, they came to a bee's nest, in which there was so much honey that it ran out of the trunk of the tree where it was. The two wanted to make a fire under the tree and suffocate the bees in order to take away the honey, but Simpleton again stopped them and said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to burn them." At last, the two brothers arrived at a castle where stone horses were standing in the stables, and no human being was to be seen. They went through all the halls until they came to a door in which were 3 locks. In the middle of the door, there was a little pane through which they could see into the room. There they saw a little gray man sitting at a table. They called him once, twice, but he did not hear. Then they called him for a third time. When he got up, opened the locks, and came out, he said nothing, but led them to a handsomely spread table. When they had eaten and drunk, he took each of them to a bedroom. Next morning, a little gray man came to the eldest, beckoned to him, and conducted him to a stone table, on which were inscribed 3 tasks, by doing of which the castle could be delivered. The first was that in the forest beneath the moss lay a princess's pearls, 1,000 in number, which must be picked up. And if by sunset 1 single pearl was wanting, he would have looked for them, he would be turned to stone. The eldest went thither and sought the whole day, but when it came to the end and he found only 100 and was written on the table to come to pass, he changed the stone. Next day, the second brother undertook the adventure, and it did not, however, far much better with him than the eldest. He did not find more than 200 pearls and was changed to stone. At last, the turn came to Simpleton, who sought in the moss, but it was so hard to find the pearls, and he got on so slowly that he seated himself on a stone and wept. And while he was thus sitting, this king of the ants, whose life he had once saved, came with 5,000 ants, and before long the little creatures had gotten all the pearls together and laid them in a heap. The second task was to fetch out of the lake the key of the king's daughter's bedchamber. When Simpleton came to the lake, the ducks which he had saved swam up to him, dived down, and brought the keys of the water. But the third task was the most difficult from amongst the 3 sleeping daughters of the king. The youngest and dearest was to be sought out. They resembled each other exactly and were only to be distinguished by their having eaten different sweet meats before they fell asleep. The eldest a bit of sugar, the second a little syrup, and the youngest a spoonful of honey. Then the queen of the bees, which Simpleton had protected from the fire, came and tasted the lips of the three. At last, she remained sitting on the mouth which had eaten the honey, and thus the king's son recognized the right princess. Then the enchantment was at an end. Everything was released from sleep, and those who had been turned to stone received once more their natural forms. Simpleton married the youngest and sweetest princess, and after her father's death became king, while his two brothers received the two other sisters, the queen bee. Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.